everywhere. So who may contribute towards sustainable development? So no doubt at all, actually, everyone's duty to contribute to sustainable development. Then when one can start, the moment when you know this sustainable development, then you have to start evaluating finally, how sustainable energy is possible. At the end of my presentation, you come to know how sustainable energy is possible. Then coming to this power sector at a glance in India, as on 31st March 2021, total installed capacity is 382,000 megawatt. So in which 53 percentage from coal, that is a thermal power plant based electricity production is there, and renewable based is 25 percentage, hydro based is 12 percentage, nuclear based is 2 percentage, gas 6, lignite 2 percentage. So in this 25 percentage, actually 25 percentage contributes like solar power is a 42 among this 20, right? So 25 percentage solar and 42 percentage solar power, 42 percentage wind power. Biopower is 11.11 percentage, and small hydropower is 5 percentage. So this is our status actually. So major portion of the energy comes from thermal power plant, right? So very least that means 1/4 of the energy comes from renewable energy, right? So total India. So we people know this actually. This is nothing but electricity generation, transmission, and distribution. So what does it mean actually? So electricity, major portion of the energy comes from thermal power plant. Then thermal power plant, so fuel is burned. The heat energy is transferred to the water. Then water is converted into this gas. Gas is forced on the turbine. The kinetic energy of the steam is converted into the mechanical energy. So generator is coupled with the turbine, so generator generates power. So during this entire,
sir, Levin, sir.
yes,
Excuse me, sir.
yes, sir.
Sir, there
yes,
is a noise in your, sir. There is a noise in your background, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Now is that okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Fine, sir. Fine.
Just a moment. Now my voice is audible, sir? Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Audible. Yes, sir. Audible. Sir. Audible.
Yes, sir. Fine. So during this entire process in the power plant, so total efficiency of the power plant is 33 percentage. So which means, so we are giving 100% energy, that 100% energy is converted into 30% useful electricity. So that is what we are producing in the thermal power plant. So in world's most efficient thermal power plant is available in the China. That percentage is even 35%. That is the highest thermal power plant available in the world is 35%. Right. So after generating, we have to distribute it. So you know that as you are a mechanical or triple background, so you know that there is a grid loss. So grid loss earlier something like a 27, 28 was there, but now it's reduced into 20%. 20% loss is there. Then effective transmission is taking place 80%. So there is a 20% loss. Then coming actually that end user side, let us consider we are in this house. If you want to turn on the fan, so fan is basically a electrical device that is a motor, like a motor. So best motor will give you something like 90 to 95%. For our best case, we will take some 95%. The fan gives 95%, right? So which means actually, just take about this coal burning to the end user side that we are enjoying with the fan now. So up to that part, so we are wasting so many energies in various ways. So let us calculate that overall percentage. So overall percentage is 33 by 100 into 80 by 100 into 95 by 100. So you will get something like 25%, right? This is the overall percentage, which means, so our fan will take something around the 65 to 60, some fans, it depends on brand, right? So our fan will take 65, roughly we will take some 65 wattage. We want to enjoy the benefits of the fan, right? So 4 times of the equivalent of energy somewhere by someone has to be burned far away from your place, right? So which means, so here we should burn something like 4 times of 65. That means 260 wattage equivalent of energy has to be burned in order to get 65 watts of fan energy. Okay, so these many problems are there. Then coming to this energy scenario, in our India, actually, we are the 6th largest energy generating nation, and we are the 6th largest end user in the world. And conventional power generation is gradually increasing because demand is high. Next, there is a gap between the supply and demand. Domestic sector consumes more energy. So this is all about the energy scenario. Coming to this next chapter, this is very new one. So here we are having that one energy power. So energy poverty is the index actually. The energy poverty is the shortage of the energy access to the modern world. We are calculating this energy poverty by an index that is actually human development index, that is an indicator. So India's HDI is 0.639. So we are in 129th position among 188 countries. So which means we are unable to access the energy to meet the modern goals or modern technology. So coming to this building sector, according to the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, around 75% of the energy is being consumed in the building sector, in which 30 to 60% of the energy is consumed for thermal comfort alone. And recently our government made a policy, housing for all. You might be heard about it actually. So housing for all by 2022, which may bring new residential buildings up to some 3 crores and even more. It's according to government policy. So in order to regulating buildings, there are few agencies are there. So national building codes, high performance commercial buildings, energy conservation building codes are there. So these 3 agencies are mainly deals on commercial buildings. So recently our government launched one more agency like energy conservation and building codes for residential buildings. That is recently launched on 14th December 2018. So from this we come to know that so far the residential building constructed not follow any of the regulation, right? So as per their occupants' wish and builders' wish, they constructed. So that is the problem. Okay. And so one more report from Niti Aayog, energy requirement projection for the residential building sector may increase 6 to 13 times by 2047. 2047 is not far away. Actually. So when you are saying that we are about to reach some 2022, after 25 years, then our energy requirement may be 13 times, just imagine 30 times of the current capacity. So this is for your information. This is very important. The typical lifespan of Indian building is 75 years, right? So I made some survey some 3 years back. I made some survey with there several factors, some 52 questionnaire based. So in which the important one is, you could see here, age of the building is the important one. Here you can see most of the buildings are constructed within 20 years, which means the previous slide we have discussed, the age lifespan of the building is 75 years, right? So recently we constructed so many buildings. Actually, within 20 years we constructed so many buildings. So if the buildings are 20 years old, then 55 years those buildings need to go, right? So 55 years that buildings need to go. So that is a very important thing. So second important thing is most of the energy is consumed during building operation stage. So what is the operation stage? Building operation stage. It may be a little bit confusing. So building operation stage is nothing but after housewarming, we enter into the house, right? Or occupying or something like that. So after occupying, whatever the energy you are spending inside the house is nothing but the operation energy. So that is calculated till it actually demolished, right? So which means whatever the building so far built that had to go 55 years, then what is the percentage in the sense? 89 to 93% of the energy is consumed during operation stage. You won't believe that I was shocked when I was seeing this. So in our residential buildings, what are the equipments we are using in the sense? Mostly we are using geyser, air conditioner, lights, fan, washing machine, and television. These are the most common equipments we are using to have our routine life. So most common thing actually, just you can see here. So none of the equipment run without electricity. All requires electricity. Right? So most of the equipments actually based on the mechanical part. So without electricity, so how it can be run? So it is not enough possible. So for supplying the energy, we have so many energy sources. As you know that oil, coal, natural gas, nuclear, these are all coming under this renewable and non-renewable energies. And renewable energies are the wind, geothermal, coal, solar, and hydropower, biomass. Right. So here, so many types of renewable energies are there. Like so, we are trying to phasing out this renewable energies. Sorry, non-renewable energies. We are trying to phase out this non-renewable energies actually here. So here, renewable energies we are concentrating nowadays, right now. Here, so some 7 different types of renewable energies are available. So one is a hydropower and hydropower, wind power, solar energy, biomass, geothermal energy, ozone energy, hydrogen energy. So in these 7 energies, so all cannot be utilized or all cannot be generated by a single person. So as I am an individual, I wish to make or I wish to contribute towards the sustainable development. If I wish to go for this renewable energy technologies, so let us see. So what are the technology can be possible and cannot be done. Okay. So hydropower is basically dam based, right? No, so we cannot build as an individual. Dam cannot be built. So this energy cannot be viable, may not be viable, right? So coming to this wind energy, so wind energy may be available. So again, the problem is micro wind turbines are now yet in this research stage. Particularly our country like India, we are not yet installed many mini wind turbines, right? So as of now, something like 0.5 megawatt or 1 megawatt, 2, 3, 4, like so it's available. So we need some space initially. So this technology also not at all possible as an individual, right? So solar, coming to the solar energy is abundantly available. So if you want to hide, it will hit on your doorsteps, right now. So this can be possible, right? So next biomass. Your biomass is a very good energy. So its commercialization and availability of the resources. So those kind of problems are there yet to evolve. Right? So as of now, this energy also cannot be used by an individual. Geothermal energy, just to see the steam turbine, we need to get energy from the ground, right, or at the crust. So we have to convert, actually we have to convert that energy into the steam and we have to force it up. So this cannot be, because it requires a huge amount and all those things. Coming to this ozone energy, everyone cannot access this ozone energy. This is also not possible. Coming to this hydrogen energy is still under research. So these things also not at all possible. So only option we have solar energy, right? So it is feasible energy by an individual. Okay, if you wish to contribute towards a sustainable development or energy saving concepts, you have only one renewable energy, so that is the solar energy. So coming to the solar energy, actually, so this is this image shows you the global solar irradiance. So global solar irradiance in our country actually is not good. Really, it's a good. So something around 1900 to 2100 annual sun kilowatt hour per minute. So daily average around 5.5 kilowatt hour per meter. Right. So we have some good solar potential. We can make use of them. Right. So solar energy can be actually utilized in several ways. Right. As we discussed earlier, when we convert one energy to another energy, there will be a loss. What we are doing as of now, we are procuring that electricity from some agency. We are trying to convert that electricity into that useful manner, like geysers are there, hot water heater. So for that, we are utilizing energy. So what will be the efficiency of that? Actually, already 23% of the energy we are getting from the thermal power plant. So if you are converting again this energy into that thermal energy in the sense, it will loss on, there will be a loss on, right? So here, solar energy can be converted into two terms, that is a solar thermal energy and photovoltaic energy. So it depends on this requirement. Okay. So here, every house required a hot water. For that, we can use solar water heater. Right? So this it shows the solar water heater. So this one is a solar photovoltaic modules. So this is your cost, right? We have two options here. I'm telling you the feasibility in the building sector, right? So in my survey, I have conducted for one more thing. What are the equipments used by an occupant to have a actually thermal comfort? So only two equipments used by this respondents actually. So one is a fan, another one is air conditioner. So in that, ceiling fan users are 88%. That gives you some negative impact actually. That is a very worst usage. I will tell you later so why we are using it, why we should not use the ceiling fan. And air conditioner usage is about 48% and non-users are something like 52%. So this calculation may actually it has to be revised because 3 years back I have conducted this survey, but now things are changing. So apart from these two technologies, around 90% of the respondents responded none of the cooling energy they are following apart from these two technologies. Right? So which means they are relying only actually fan and air conditioning. So let us have some case study. So case study is that actually we are like 2 BHK room actually house is there. So in that we are living, right? So day-to-day activity, we are utilizing something like 6 equipments. So one is a geyser, another one is air conditioner, light, fan, washing machine, and television. I think this spreadsheet is visible to you, right? Somebody respond me, please. I'm audible.
Sir, yes, sir. Audible, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay. Is the spreadsheet is visible to you?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir. Visible, sir.
Yes, yes, yes. Fine. Thank you. So now I am going to show you how much energy we are spending and how much is the cost of them. Right. So 6 equipments we are using in our home to have some comfort lifestyle. So nowadays actually these are our important geyser, air conditioner, light, fan, washing machine, television. So these are all the essential things, right? So let us calculate that. Actually, that I am trying to say that is actually geyser is seasonal based. We are not at all using the geyser for 365 days. I'm mentioning like yes, it's a seasonal base. Air conditioner also the seasonal base. Light is a daily base. We are using lights. Without light, it's not at all possible to live. We need light. Right? Fan is actually it's a seasonal base. So during winter, actually we will not use this fan and air conditioner. So instead of that, we will use geyser. At the same time, on the other hand, so air conditioner and fans will be used during the summer, whereas the geyser will not be used. Okay, that's why I'm categorizing like that. So washing machine may be used daily basis. Television may be used daily basis. Now I am trying to convert in actually the how much hour in a year we are using this one, right? So geyser, so let us say something like 2 hours in a day we are using. Okay. Then actually how many days, 2 hours in a day we are using, how many days we are using. So cooling days according to the survey, 210 days are a heating days, 210 days are cooling days. Okay. So 210 days actually here hour calculation. Right? So hours, how much hours? Hours per hour per year. Okay. Then air conditioner. Air conditioner, it's a cooling, actually cooling days are 210 days according to our Indian climatic conditions. Specifically, like our South Indian, we have 210 cooling days, right? So if you are using the 10 hours in 210 days, the total hours will be 2100, right? So like let us say that 365 we need, right? 365 we need approximately something 4 hours we are utilizing this light. Fan again, it's a seasonal based, 210 days in a year, then 10 hours we are using. Coming to this washing machine 2 hours and 365 days we are utilizing. Television, coming to this television, some 4 hours into 365 days. So total hours in a year we are utilizing that each and every equipment is this much hours. Then we are now we are calculating that power required to run this equipment. Okay, so geyser will take minimum 2 kilowatt. Air conditioner will take that old air conditioner I am talking about. Old air conditioner will take again 2 kilowatt. Light will take 40 kilowatt. Fan will take some 63 kilowatt. Washing machine will take some 60 wattage. Television will take some 70 wattage. Right. So here we have watts. Right. So now let us calculate. So as you are electrical people, however you know that, so kilowatt hour, right? So hour we have here. So here 2000 into per hour divided by 1000 gives you how much power required to run this geyser in a year, right? So this much of the power is required. That means 6,330.6 kilowatt power is required if you are using actually like this. Then let us calculate the cost actually again. So cost per unit, state to state it differs. Okay, let us have some constant calculation, just for calculation. So let us have that actually like 5 rupees per unit we are. If you are actually procuring the current or electricity, the total cost would be so 5 into profit. So you will have this one. In order to have some comfort thermal life, actually comfort life, so you should have these 6 equipments at least, right now. So here you are having this many things. Again, I am introducing one more column here, so the quantity, right? Freezer will be 1, air conditioner will be 1, light may be 4 actually. So 2 BHK we consider now, at least 4 lights will be there. Fan will be 1 or 2, let us take fan will be 2. Okay, washing machine will be 1, television will be 1. So here is your cost, actually here power consumption will be multiplied with 4. Again. Okay. 4 times has to be multiplied, right? So it's done, correct now? So this is the cost conventionally we are utilizing, right? So whatever the technology we are having, so for that we need to spend 31,029 rupees in a year in order to have some decent life. So now we have a technological advancement. So here this can be modified like this. So what are the things we can modify in the sense? So these 2 and 3, these 3 things can be modified. So what is there? So geyser can be replaced with solar water heater, correct now? So when you are using the solar water heater, the power consumed with the solar water heater will become 0 here. Then coming to this air conditioner, older air conditioners that earlier days, whatever they sold, they consumed a lot of energy. Now, labeling is there, 5-star labeling is there. Now, that inverter technology is coming into the play, and variable speed compressors are installed in that air conditioner. So that air conditioner, actually, the power requirement is reduced into 950. Earlier that was 2000, now it is 950. So light in place of previously we used something like tube lights that can be replaced with light. Right? So now your additional cost is actually happening there. So here capital cost is something required actually. So in order to replacing this, capital cost is required. Capital cost actually, Jesus capital cost maybe 16,000. Actually, this is a good quality geysers I am telling you. So water heater. So that will serve you some 10 liter per day. Sorry, 100 liters per day. So that is sufficient for a 4-member family, 4 to 5 member family that can be utilized, right? So air conditioner, inverter technology air conditioner may cost you 33,000. So light, so one LED bulb can be placed in place of tube lights. That cost you some 150 rupees. Let us say that 150 rupees. So 4 into 150, that cost you some 600 rupees. Right? So just to see there, so you are going to spend 49,600 additionally, but see the cost, total cost on electricity. Earlier 31,000, now it came down to 14,900, around 50,000. Half it reduced, right? So we actually we have replaced something, right? So just let us check when this break-even point or a profit will be And when we are replacing these equipments, just to see, so here I am taking year, this is conventional method, this is technological application, right? So here I am taking 1, 2, the 10-year I am calculating. So 10-year I am calculating. Here just I am talking about geyser. So first year energy consumption conventionally, so that is something 4,200, right? So second year another 4,200 will come. So 4,200 plus this over. So second year, at the end of the second year, we will be spending 8,400 rupees, and like so, at the end of 10th year, you may be supposed to pay 42,000 in order to get some hot water. So here, so when you are replacing that with solar heater, solar water heater, so your cost will become zero. But you invested something like 16,000, that will come, right? So 16,000 will remain same throughout the year. So I haven't included that maintenance cost because so whatever the cost you are spending for conventional like electrical geyser, and this will be equalized. Fine. Okay. Yeah. Let us see that break even. So when the break even touch, right? You could see here. So up to 4 years, you won't get anything actually. So fourth year, there is a break even. So from the fourth year onwards, you are getting benefit of your 16,000 rupees, right? So if this geyser serves you actually that solar water heater serves you something like 15 or 15 years, 10 to 15 years, that will be good beneficial for you. Even though it serves you the 10 years, that is really a good beneficial. So how much it is? So it is actually that initial cost is 16,000. So that is going to be the only cost you are invested for having a hot water. In case of an electrical geyser, you may be supposed to spend 42,000. Just compare that. That is 16, that is 42,000. Right? Like so. So one more thing. So again, so here I am taking here like previous case, conventional method, technical upgradation. In the first year, second year, up to 10th year, you are spending. Actually, you are enjoying thermal comfort by means of AC air conditioner. So see here, so 21,000 you are spending in the first year electricity, right? Second year also you will be getting the same 21,000 plus previous. At the end of the second year, you will be spending 42,000. So like so, if you are enjoying the thermal comfort at the end of the 10th year, you will be spending 1,10,000 rupees. If you are upgrading into this latest technology, so initially you are spending 33,000, that is the capital cost for that. So in addition to that, you are spending something like 9,070, right? 9,975 you will be spending, right? So initial cost, the first year cost will be high, then so each year there will be 9,975 will be the cost of the electricity. Right? Just see 21,000, actually 2,10,000 is the cost. So after 10 years, you may be spending. So when you are continuing with that existing technology or older technology, if you are upgrading, you will be getting benefit, right? So let us see that when we will getting the break, right? So exactly from the third year onwards, you will be enjoying your cost saving will be there, right? So next, similarly, light we can say, right? Light will be the medium, right? So I hope this might be useful to you. Yeah. Next, coming to this one, next upcoming. So I have some few questions. Why are we moving towards electric vehicle? Can someone tell me? Why we are moving towards electric vehicle?
Sir, in order to the shortage of fossil fuels, sir.
Shortage of fuel, yes, that's really
Yes,
that's
and also we need to conserve our environment, sir.
yes, yes, perfect, sir. Thank you for your answers. Right.
Thank you.
So these are the major reason why we are moving. That is why we are moving towards electric vehicle. So my second question is that don't we burn anything apart from the automobile fuel? Actually, we do. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. We burned a lot of things for cooking purpose. We use a lot of fuel,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, perfect. We do cooking actually. So for that purpose, LPG is consumed actually. Nowadays, actually, LPG is familiarized. Every home we are having the LPG. And for promoting this LPG, our government given so many subsidies and schemes. So many things they have done. Within 20 years, actually, with most of us, 99% of our people actually using LPG. Right. So now my next question is, are we utilizing energy efficiently? Let's see them. Actually, there's two stoves. You might be knowing this. So what is the first one?
Sir, LPG stove.
Yes,
Gas stove.
perfect. LPG stove. And second one will be this induction stove. So
Induction,
have you,
electric.
yes, induction stove, it's electrical based. Have you ever actually worried about that what percentage of that LPG stove, actually what percentage or how much efficient that LPG stove is? So actually that LPG stove, so you will be shocked, right? So LPG stove gives you only 68% of the energy, the efficiency, right? Whereas induction stove, so 90% of the energy will be utilized for heating or cooking purposes. Whereas the LPG stove will give you or convert you that energy, so 68%. So now actually that this may be not actually understandable one. I will tell you one more thing. So we have a gas drum. So for our gas domestic LPG stove having a 4.2 kg of gas, right? Okay. So energy actually the LPG domestic LPG having 46 megajoule per kg of energy. So which is equivalent to, so again, so this may not be helpful for you to understanding. So again, I will tell you one more thing. So equivalence to this actually 12.8 kilowatt hour per kg equivalent energy it will give, right? So if that is converted into the 68%, so 1/3 of the energy will be wasted. Now I am asking you a question actually. So if you have a filled LPG drum, so how long it will serve you? Will it come 3 months or 4 months or 5 months?
Sir, pardon, sir.
You have the cylinder, filled cylinder. You are connected with this LPG stove. How long it
Yes.
will serve you actually? That 1.5 months or 2 months or 3 months?
So most probably for a single family, it may be 1.5 months to 2 months. At maximum of 2 months.
Okay, at maximum of 2 months. Let us take the 2 months or otherwise. So that 1.5 months. So most of the family
Yes.
we used to cook actually. So
Yes.
1.5 months or 45 days. Let us take. Right. Okay. Then one more question is there. So in a day, how much time you used for cooking actually? You used to cook. You
So
used
most
to.
probably 3 to 4, sir.
Okay. Let us say some 3 hours. Let I am taking actually 3 hours in a day. Okay. So 3 hours in a day, you are actually that 14.2 G comes 45 days, right? So that means actually, so total energy let us consume actually. The total energy in the cylinder let us calculate. So 14.2 kg into 12.8, so it will become 181 kilowatt of energy. Kilowatt hour energy you will get it totally, right? In a cylinder, 181 kilowatt energy, approximately 181 kilowatt energy will get it. So that will serve you 181 kilowatt energy will serve you for 8 days. If the case per day 181 divided by the 45 will give you some 4 kilowatt. Right now, 4 kilowatt hour. This is one day usage. You are actually you are spending a 3 hours in a day, right? So 3 hours in a day. So here just you have a calculation that per day 4 kilowatt actually it's coming. You are utilizing 4 kilowatt per day according to your statement. Now coming to this induction stove. Most of the induction stove are commercially available as something like 1400 watts to 1800 watts. If it is actually that most of the induction stove comes within this range. So even though this is having that 1400 watt, that is not so actually required to have that much of the energy. As of my personal experience, 1000 wattage, if you are keeping, that is sufficient to cook your food efficiently, or otherwise something like comfortably you can cook with 1000 wattage of energy, right? So per day, how much you are spending actually here? You are spending for 3 hours. Okay. 3 hours in a day. So here 4 kilowatt per day you are utilizing in case of LPG stove. So I said it's 1000 wattage is sufficient to cook foods in induction cooker. That means if you are doing cooking in 3 hours, it will become a 3 kilowatt per day. Right? Just compare this temperature. So which one is consuming a lot? So the LPG stove obviously, because the efficiency is low, right? So here efficiency is high, right now. So this way you can save it. One more thing. And the next, buildings. Next, most energy is spent for having a thermal comfort. So this thermal comfort is the most important one, because 30 to 60% of the residential buildings energy is consumed to have thermal comfort. So thermal comfort by definition, it is a mindset of a human being which is satisfied environmentally with thermal conditions, neither cooler nor warmer. You should not feel cooler or you should not feel warmer. So that is the thermal comfort. In buildings, the thermal comfort plays a major role. Because why? Because so we need to have some healthy and productive environment. So thermal comfort, why needed actually? So people spend 80 to 90% of their time indoor. So buildings are closely connected with health and related activities. So we should have thermal comfort. Yes, we will not feel comfort, then whatever we are thinking that goes wrong. Right now. So coming into this basics of a building heat transfer. So building receives a heat from the sun by means of the radiation. So once it receives actually that it strikes on the outer surface of the wall, from the outer surface to inner surface, that will transfer through conduction heat transfer mode. From the inner surface, actually converts. So this convection heats up your indoor environment. In addition to that, indoor heat source like human metabolism, equipments, lightings. So these are the things heats up this indoor environment. So once your indoor environment is heated up, then you cannot feel comfort, then things goes wrong. So in order to avoiding that, usually actually that we use several equipments, right? So before going to the equipment side, we should know what is our environment, because that even a single solution may not suitable for all the people's life. So we should know our environment first, right? So according to this climatic zone map of India, India has classified into some 5 climatic zones. So like hot, dry, warm, humid, composite, temperate, and cold. Most of our South India and East India are classified under warm, humid region. So warm, what is the meaning of warm, humid in this? Air is a little bit actually hotter than the normal or the required one. So already the relative humidity or a humidity or a moisture is available in the environment. So based on these two things actually the comfort plays a role. In order to having a comfort, most preferably that we use two equipments. One is air cooler. That actually I am speaking practically. So whatever the equipment we are having, so that I am telling you. So which one is a preferable? Can you tell me? Air cooler or air conditioner?
So most probably people are preferable air conditioners or AC.
Yes. So why? Because
in olden days, many of them were preferred air cooler, but now the people are like most comfort, so we go for AC. Sir.
Yes, perfect. Actually, it's earlier. So this started from this North India. Actually, the air cooler concepts are started from North India. It's evolved towards us. Okay? Then the technology is not at all helpful for us. So if you are having that air conditioner, then stop using them. So this technology is not at all useful for us. So here what we do is actually, here air cooler, we used to pour some water that sprays throughout our space so that actually the environment get moisturized or otherwise the humidity will increase within our space. So that much of the humidity is not required. So our environment condition itself, it's a humid. So what is that humid? So relative humidity is there is a parameter. Okay. So just now I said actually this air cooler is not sufficient. Why? Because our environment is already humid. We need not to humid again, right? So there is a parameter like a relative humidity. So relative humidity varies between 0 to 100. It is a percentage. Relative humidity percentage varies between 100, 0 to 100 percentage. So for comfort conditioning, 50% relative humidity is sufficient to have thermal comfort. But in our atmosphere, it's already humid, which means it's more than 50% of the humidity is available. When you are seeing that meteorological data, you might be seeing this, but you may not have any much idea about this relative humidity. If the relative humidity is lesser than the 35%, you need to evaporate it, or otherwise you need not to evaporate it. So this gives a major role. So here, then next question it comes. So what percentage of the relativity we have? So we have around something like in winter it goes 95%. We need to dehumidify it actually. So when you are turning on this air conditioner, these kind of things, you could observe that. So there will be a water, some water coming out from the indoor unit that will be piped outside to the building, right? So if that is actually winter season, the water flow will be more, which means we are having a high relative humidity, high moisture content available in our space. Okay, so we need not to moisturize again. So this technology will actually increase your moisture content. This is not at all required. So we need air conditioners only, right? So there are some 6 factors that affects the thermal comfort: air temperature, relative humidity, air velocity, mean radiant temperature, clothing insulation, and metabolic rate. So coming to this relative humidity, actually first air temperature, as per ASRA standards, some 26 degrees centigrade is acceptable or thermally comfortable temperature. Coming to this relative humidity, so 50% relative humidity, now that 26 degrees Celsius with 50% relative humidity is sufficient to have good thermal comfort. Then air velocity. Air velocity can be varied from 0 to 0.2 to 1.2 meter per second. Mean radiant temperature, it's all about that environment. So today we need not to speak about it. If time permits, later we will speak something about this. And coming to this clothing insulation. So clothing insulation, actually when we are wearing that shorts kind of a thing, that will come 0.2. If you are wearing that pants shirt, that will come 0.6. Clothing, CLO is the TOA. Okay. So maximum that winter wears, if you are wearing winter wears, that will come 1 CL. Right? So this matters a lot. If you are wearing a winter wear, if you are keeping this atmospheric temperature actually, or otherwise ambient temperature or air conditioned temperature 70 degree, then it won't will makes you thermal comfort. Correct, no? Then you have to keep minimal actually conditions like our environment. You should keep minimum clothing insulations. Like it's a pant shirt, it's somehow it's okay 0.2 clothing insulation. That is required, right? So coming to this metabolic rate. So we ourselves we are generating heat. Why? Because actually we are taking food. That food is converted into the energy. So during conversion of that energy, there is an exothermic reaction takes place. That because of that reaction, our inner body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Our atmospheric temperature, what is our human? That is 27 degrees Celsius. So because of the temperature difference, heat is transferred from our human body to this atmosphere. So that's actually that manner actually heat is transferred, right? So depends on the activity, heat liberation rate will be, right? Energy is being spent, right? So when we are sitting, then what 100 wattage will be spent, right? If you are doing any heavy work or exercise kind of a thing, something like 90 wattage equivalent of heat will be released. So this metabolic rate will be normally mentioned in the unit mid. Okay, that can be converted into 100 to, that can be varied 100 to 900. So how it, in the sense 1 met is equivalent to 1 met is equivalent to some 60 wattage, right? Our human body actually per meter. Our human body, average human body is estimated as 1.6 meter surface area. So 1.6 into 60, it will become 100. If you are sitting, just simply if you are sitting, you will be generating 100 watt. So then if you are doing or if you are thinking, then metabolism rate will increase. Will vary between 1100 to 90 watts, right? So these three things are actually something related to our activities and our building related matters. So this is environment related matter, right? So let us see here. So in order to predicting the thermal comfort, we have two methodologies. One is a PMV method. The PMV method is a mean work method, predictive mean work method. So there is a standard, as a standard actually. So operating temperature I am keeping 60, air velocity is 0.1, relative humidity is 50%, metabolic rate is 1 met, simply quite, okay, seated weight, right? Clothing insulation is 0.61, okay, so trouser, long sleeves, just having. If you are actually that some 5-6 parameters are there, here some 5 parameters included. So in there, so these are the comfort with psychometric. So So this is actually this chart is known as a psychometry. Here x-axis is known as a tribal temperature, y-axis is known as a humidity ratio. These lines are called relative humidities. These lines are called relative humidities. So if you are having this much of the operating cases, you have this much of the width, within that you can operate it. So I said actually that 60%, 26 degree is that operative temperature. Let's see, 26% is the operative temperature. Relative humidity, this is the relative humidity line, which is 50%. Right? This line is 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay. So at present we are here. So at this case, so PMV, actually predictive mean mode, sensation is neutral. There is some 7 scale sensation is there. Neutral, there is a neutral actually, neutral in the sense 0. We are not either feeling hot, we are not feeling actually, not feeling cold, right? So in such case, set temperature may be fixed to 25.8, then predictive mean mode can be like 6%. So this is not a predictive mean mode. The predictive mean mode is 0.19 and the percentage predicted dissatisfaction will be 6. Right? So dissatisfaction, if inside the hall some 100 people are there, so we cannot satisfy all the 100 people. Some 6 people may be deviated from the settings. So that is what percentage predicted deviation or dissatisfaction we can have. So this is derived by this ASRE standard, right? So one more conditioning is there, adaptive method. So in that adaptive method, based on the outdoor temperature, so we can adapt a bit. We are human beings. We can adapt a bit. So operating temperature or indoor temperature is 32. If the outdoor temperature is also 32, if you are keeping a 1.2 meter per second or a fan speed like that, then actually we will have this much of the region to play. Okay. So darker one shows that actually 90% of the acceptable limit. So lighter one shows that 80% of the acceptable limit. So now I feed at some 32, operating temperature is 32, outdoor condition also 32. So still we are in comfort zone only, right? Thermal comfort zone only. This is what I want to tell you. So coming to this building energy efficiency, there are a lot of scopes available to do some work actually. So minimizing the opening on the south. We know that actually south faced actually sun actually moves to the south pole. So south side actually sunlight will be falls on the building. So we should avoid the opening in the southwest sides. Right? So cut down on the heat gains. So wherever the possibility that heat is generated within the building, that should be cut down. So optimal window to wall ratio has to be maintained. So this is very important. Window to wall ratio. So mostly we will have something like 4 by 3 feet windows. So most of the industries like IT people, they used to build the walls with glasses, right? So there they will they will use more energy to cool the space. So you know that actually when the sun strikes on the surface, part of the energy will be reflected, part of the energy will be absorbed by that one, and part of the energy is penetrated within that, right? So penetrated and falls actually go through the next side, correct? No. So here, if you are constructed the wall with the brick wall or something like that, the transmitted energy will be restricted. In case of a glasses, transmitted energy will not be restricted. So that maybe the chance of there is a chance of high chance of heat gain, internal heat gain, right? So then glass with the low solar heat gain has to be used actually. So low value of glass material has to be used, right? So these things already addressed by our government actually. Our government given some policy. So initially initiated some policy, something like 2018 at the end of December. Something they have given for only glass, residential building, glasses, window glasses, they have given something, but the rest of the things under pipeline. Then efficient wall to the roof material has to be there, and insulation must be provided. So this area we have to pay more attention. We can do some more research area, and the high COP energy efficient HVAC systems has to be placed. Like today we discussed so many things. So earlier 2000 wattage energy is consumed to run this air conditioner. Nowadays 950 wattage is sufficient. Then passive cooling system, that architectural elements itself we can have passive cooling system that we haven't discussed, even touched it. So later we can see. Then renewable energies. So here on-grid, off-grid renewable energies we can do it. And building management system can be imposed. And international codings baselines has to be followed. And finally, the simulation tool can be used to optimize the energy efficiency. These are the research areas. So finally, the two topics is there. So one is the net zero energy buildings. So when you are dealing about the net zero energy buildings, there are two technology: active technology, passive technology. Today we haven't discussed the passive technology, that is the orientation envelope based. So today we haven't discussed anything about this. Active technology we have discussed this so far. So what is the actually the energy efficiency is that one thing, and second one is renewable energy. So energy efficiency, we can actually efficiently use the air conditioner, lighting system, accelerators, appliances. So far we discussed that one, right? So renewable energies, when coming to this renewable energy, actually that we have only one option, solar is the option, right? So direct conversion we can do it. So for geysers we can use the direct solar thermal conversion. So that may help us to make some hot water. Here solar photovoltaic system may help us to make some electricity. So this can be done, right? Right. So what is net zero energy building? So that is the concept. Net zero energy building. So at the end of that, actually, just I will tell you. So here on grid, you know that actually the on grid, off grid, so you might be bored about hearing about all those things. On grid, off grid. I don't want to mention. I don't want to spend much time on it actually. So off grid in the sense energy has to be stored in the battery. It's not connected with the grid. On grid, so it's not stored. It's directly connected to this grid. So hybrid in the sense it's a mixer together, right? So then let us go for this calculation again. Yeah, we've done this calculation actually. So here there's an important thing, important and interesting thing. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So initially, just for your remembrance, our central government, Indian government gives some subsidy for our domestic solar modules. Let us say if you wish to do something like a 3 kilowatt module, right? 3 kilowatt module. So based on the on-grid, off-grid, hybrid, so depends on that price will vary. If you wish to go for a 3 kilowatt power module, so you need some 300 square feet of area, right? That is the primary requirement. If you are not having any area that's free space to receive the sunlight, then it is not at all possible. If you have that space, there is an opportunity, right? 3 kilowatt, if you go for the 3 kilowatt, then per kilowatt, something like hybrid energy cost you 1,40,000, right? So per kilowatt. So here we have the 3 kilowatt, 3 into 1,14,000. It comes around 3 lakh. Actually, 3 times of 1,4,000. It will give you some 3,42,000. So in which, for domestic purpose, up to 3 kilowatt, government giving subsidy to everyone, right? So what is the percentage? Percentage is a 40. So you need to spend 60% of the amount, then 0.6 it will come, right? So this is the amount you require to install 3 kilowatt panels, right? 2 lakh, something around 2 lakh 5,000 we will get. Okay, fine. So out of that, so how much cost actually, how much energy you can generate it? So let us say 3 kilowatt. Actually, how much days you can get it? Some 300 days. We cannot expect 365 days, right? So 300 days will be the efficient days. 65 days will be that something like we can leave some cloudy days or something like that. So 300 days will be the effective days. So each one will give you 5.5 wattage into 3 kilowatt. That will be 5.5, yes. So what is the calculation is 300 days you can get 5 point, actually once again I'm typing 300 days you are getting efficient solar energy, sunlight. So in which initially we discussed in that global solar irradiation 5.5 wattage on an average per kilowatt. 5.5 wattage if you are producing, then 3 kilowatt it will become 4,950 wattage you can kilowatt per hour you can produce, right? So 950 watts you can produce, right, at the cost of 2,05,000 rupees. In case actually here power, earlier we discussed, no, earlier actually power requirement is 6,200 is the power requirement. After modification or technological upgradation, we required only the 3,000 watts. So what is that leftover? So leftover is 1,950, around actually 2,000 kilowatt is a leftover. Nowadays, electrical vehicle, electrical cars, everything is coming into the play, right now. So it may be utilized for the purposes. Okay, after 5 years, there will be dramatic change. I'm expecting that, right? So here again, cut off that break-even analysis. Let us do the break-even analysis. So let us take something like a 10-year conventional method. If you are spending that energy, so what will be the cost actually here? 31,000 right? 31,029, right? In the first year. Then second year, 31,029. At the end of the 10th year, your cost will go around something like 3,10,000. Yeah, 3,10,000 rupees. If you have integrated these techniques, what is there? Solar energy along with that modification, right? So along with that modification, then your initial investment will be 2,05,200. It remains same, right? No change will be there. Because your requirement is how much? 3 kilowatt, 3,000 kilowatt, but we are producing around 5,000 kilowatt. You may be utilized. We are excessively producing the energy, right? So that can be utilized for the future purposes. If you are ready to go for it, then you will get a break even after 6 years, right? Nowadays, people are telling that photovoltaic serves you 25 years. Right. Fine. Then last, there is one more topic, that green building. So green building is a one which conserve natural resources, less water usage, optimize energy efficiency, generates less wastage, provides healthier space. So this can be speak another one hour actually, like so. I'm not expert in that area, but this is what everyone expected, right? No, so just one more time, I wish to go for this here. So we discussed something like net zero building, right? No, so here we discussed net zero building. So net zero building is nothing but, so see here, after implementation of these techniques, right? So your building no more require any of the energy, right? So no more require any of the electricity energy from the grid. You can produce by your home, right now. So this is known as a net zero energy building. Fine. Okay. So that's it about my presentation. If there is any queries, I'm happy to address them.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for a valuable presentation, sir. Participants, any queries? Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, in some places of construction, there are they use some air conditioners in the container units, sir. Whether it is efficient containers in the containers, some other people are stayed, sir, in the construction area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In that they use some air conditioners in the container. Whether it is efficient one, sir, because the container is metallic, so
Actually,
cooling.
yes. Basically, sir, actually that material that encloses is the important thing. So container is a temporary shelters. So we cannot expect that much of a comfort. So when we are installing that air conditioner, so that depends on that insulating material which provided on the surfaces on the roofs. So basically, that container is made up of some steel plates. So steel is having a higher thermal conductivity. So whatever the energy received by that sheets or plates, which actually transport into that within the container. So that consumes a lot. So even nowadays, actually, just I forget to tell you one more thing actually. So before 2020, whatever you are purchasing the AC, that you can adjust up to 17 degrees Celsius. But now the scenario changed. The government made a policy. So now if you go to this market or somewhere, so that AC cannot be reduced or cannot be down the temperature below 24 degrees Celsius. So that is the government made a policy. And one more thing actually. So earlier something like SA and SA is basically for American standards, India is for SA is basically Indian. So our national institute, actually MNIT, Malviya National Institute of Technology, Jaipur, for 6-7 years before itself, they made policy to keep indoor air temperature or set point temperature. So what is set point temperature? Set point temperature is the temperature we fix in the air conditioner. This is what we want. So like that we used to fix now. That is the temperature is known as the set point temperature. That is actually 26 degrees they fix. If we want to have more comfort, we can turn on the fan. So like this actually here for your case, containers, if you insulate the panels, that will give you something like efficient panel. If you are not insulating, that keep on things. So like our homes, we used to keep 17 degrees. So the air conditioner never turn on. They will never cut it off. Right now. So like that it will run during daytime. Maybe night time it may cut off. That may be slow. I hope I understood what you. Right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Participants, any other queries? Yes, sir. Sir Lalin, sir, really your session is so valuable, sir. From your session, I hope all the participants will receive a lot of the knowledge sharing about the energy saving in the building, how the equipments are saving that energy, and all those things we are shared so well, sir. Really, it is so valuable session, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thanks for
Sir,
your
one more
attention.